Yeah, you can play limited football with Deshaun Watson, efficiency football, but teams are going to just sit on those shorter routes and force him to make a play, and that's where you still have a lot to see. But Shedeur, you saw improvement. You saw him scramble up in the pocket, go get some easy yards, hit the check down. I felt like Shedeur looked more like the starter as opposed to Deshaun. Deshaun looked like a very capable QB2. A lot of people are talking about Shedeur and all of these little minute things as if we didn't see him play regular season games last year. Like, so getting in and out of huddle is not a problem. And the more you do it, the faster quicker it comes.
Excuse my hoodie, had a rough hair day this morning.
I feel you.
Something happened at Browns practice today that should make this quarterback competition even harder to ignore. Because while everybody keeps waiting for Shedeur Sanders to finally have that ugly practice that gives Cleveland an easy excuse to move on, the exact opposite keeps happening. Shedeur went back out there, protected the football, moved the offense, found the end zone, and once again looked comfortable doing it. And somehow, one of the biggest plays he made still will not look as good on the stat sheet as it should, because Jerry Jeudy put another Shedeur Sanders touchdown opportunity on the ground. That is becoming a story now. This is not about blaming Jerry Jeudy for everything that happens in Cleveland. Jeudy made plays later in practice, and when he deserves credit, he should get it. But Browns fans have watched this pattern enough times now to notice it. Shedeur puts a football where his receiver has a real chance to finish the play. The opportunity is sitting right there, and suddenly the ball is on the ground. Today it happened again in the end zone. That matters when every single Shedeur rep is being examined like it could decide his entire future. Think about the situation he is in. Shedeur is not being judged like a quarterback who has unlimited chances to make his case. Every completion matters. Every missed deep ball gets discussed. Every drive gets picked apart. Every practice becomes another argument about whether he deserves more.
Guaranteed waiting for him no matter what he does. But look, some people believe that, but the biggest thing is that Shedeur keeps going out there and improves, because even if, if the Browns don't call him a starter, it doesn't mean he's not probably going to play the most games a year ago. Now people assume Shedeur would never get to play, and then he ended up winning the most games and breaking multiple Browns records. So I don't know what the season's going to hold, but Shedeur definitely taking it seriously, definitely doing what he needs to do. As you go to someone like Deshaun Watson throwing interceptions to Mr. Michael Kota. Michael Kota has been making a lot of plays. He's an undrafted free agent, and every single chance he gets, he just makes big boy plays. So this one was Deshaun Watson rolling to his right. This was one of two interceptions. To be honest with you, the second interception wasn't as bad, but this one, you can see he just doesn't fully throw the ball. You know what I'm saying? Man, tough interception.
So when he throws a ball that should become 6 points and the receiver cannot finish it, Shedeur loses something he cannot control. The coaches see the tape, sure, but everybody else sees the numbers, and those numbers do not always tell the full story. But here is what makes today's practice even more interesting. Shedeur did not let that moment change the rest of his day. He kept working. He kept moving the offense. He kept making throws. And most importantly, he did not start giving the Browns defense free possessions. That last part matters because Deshaun Watson did not have the same clean afternoon. Watson had 2 interceptions during the session, including one on a play where he moved to his right, and the defense took advantage. That does not mean Watson suddenly forgot how to play quarterback, and it does not mean one practice decides Cleveland's depth chart. But when the veteran is supposed to be creating separation in this battle, days like this do the exact opposite. That is what Cleveland cannot escape. Every time it feels like there is an opportunity for Watson to make everybody stop asking questions, Shedeur Sanders stays close enough to keep those questions alive. And today might have been one of the clearest examples. Shedeur reportedly finished around 17 of 25, operated the offense without turning the football over, produced multiple touchdowns, and continued making plays when the situation became difficult. He was not perfect. He missed some opportunities downfield, and that absolutely matters. Nobody needs to pretend every throw was flawless, but there is a massive difference between missing a deep shot and handing the defense the football. That is where today's comparison gets uncomfortable. Because if Cleveland wants stability from the quarterback position, what are coaches supposed to do when the younger quarterback is the one protecting the ball while the veteran is producing the more damaging mistakes? And Shedeur was not just collecting easy completions either. During the hurry-up portion, he had to deal with the offense getting behind schedule. He faced third downs. He faced a 4th and long situation. And instead of the drive immediately dying, he kept finding answers. That is the kind of football that does not always produce a viral highlight, but it absolutely gets the attention of a coaching staff. Can you keep the offense alive when the perfect play is not there? Can you stay calm when the defense knows you have to throw?
Oh, go ahead. Said nope. Looking deep. And somehow finds Jerry Jeudy. So look, if we're going to castrate Jerry Jeudy, we're going to talk about him. Also got to give him his praise when he makes a good play there over the middle. It seems where he wants to catch those balls. In Shedeur Sanders. And this was in the hurry up period, right? This was, I believe, on a 4th down. He had his move the ball period. Deshaun actually got field goal. Shedeur sadly didn't get field goal, but he moved the ball, had multiple 3rd downs. So really good throws here. He also missed some big throws too. He missed some deeper balls down the field. So we want to see if we can connect those. Those could have been touchdowns, right? But at the end of the day, I think the goodest, I think the best thing is he operated well. He took care of the ball. The ball looked good. He seems to be in very.
Can you make the next decision without letting the previous play affect you? Shedeur continues giving Cleveland reasons to keep evaluating him. And now this entire story is heading directly into Buffalo. That is what makes the timing so important. The Browns are about to see these quarterbacks against a different defense, different looks, different personnel, and a completely different challenge. That should be an opportunity for Watson to show why experience matters. But it is also another opportunity for Shedeur to keep doing exactly what he has been doing. Stay composed, protect the football, and make Cleveland's decision more uncomfortable than anybody expected. The wildest part is that Shedeur does not appear to be carrying himself like a quarterback feeling the weight of all this attention. While everyone outside the building debates his future after every throw, his approach remains simple: show up and work. And after what happened at practice today, that calm approach might be putting even more pressure on everybody else. The Jerry Jeudy part of this story is getting harder to brush off because this is not the first time Browns fans have watched Shedeur Sanders put a catchable football in a big spot and then lose the result because the play was not finished. And again, this does not mean Jeudy suddenly became a bad receiver. It does not mean every mistake belongs on him. But when the quarterback competition is this closely watched, these missed opportunities matter a lot more than they normally would. Today gave us another perfect example. Shedeur Sanders gets the offense into position, sees the matchup, lets the football go, and puts it in the end zone, where the receiver has a real chance to complete the play. That should be the kind of rep everybody remembers as another touchdown for Shedeur. Instead, it becomes another moment where the quarterback does his job and still walks away without the full result. That is a huge deal in a competition like this. Because people love looking at the final numbers and acting like they tell the entire story. They do not. A quarterback can make the correct read, throw a beautiful football, place it exactly where it needs to be, and still end up with an incompletion because somebody else does not finish the play. On paper, it looks like nothing happened. On film, the story can look completely different. That is why Browns fans have to separate quarterback play from the final result of every single pass. If Shedeur misses an open receiver, that belongs on Shedeur. If he holds the football too long and takes an unnecessary sack, that belongs on Shedeur. If he makes a bad read, throw it on his evaluation. But if he delivers the football where it needs to go and his receiver cannot secure it, you cannot turn around and pretend the quarterback failed on that rep. That is where this Jerry Jeudy situation becomes frustrating.
Good spirits, and when we finish watching the clips, we'll listen to him because he also, you know what I'm saying, he talked a little bit to the media as well. And then we'll get you the quarterback tracker, everything else. Oh, shout out Emmanuel McNeil-Warren. These are 2 elite plays from Emmanuel McNeil-Warren. If you don't know, the safety out of Toledo, if I'm not sure. 6'3" dude, big dog. And he is just moving all over the field. He just has insane closing speed. Emmanuel McNeil-Warren is that absolute problem. I'm happy to see him against the Bills, see what he does as well. I'm very excited about that. And then here you go again, Emmanuel McNeil-Warren. This time, Shedeur's going to find handy dandy Mr. Harold Fannin, right? It's never a bad time to find Harold Fannin, right? He sets up, actually climbs the pocket, finds Harold Fannin, right? But guess who's there? Emmanuel McNeil-Warren.
Jeudy is supposed to be one of the better weapons on this offense. He is the kind of receiver a young quarterback should be able to trust when the windows get smaller and the pressure increases. So when Shedeur creates a touchdown opportunity and Jeudy cannot finish it, that is not some meaningless camp mistake. That takes production directly off the board. And production is exactly what Shedeur needs right now. Every touchdown helps his case. Every successful red zone rep gives coaches something else to study. Every clean drive makes it harder to dismiss what he is doing. Shedeur does not have the luxury of people simply assuming he will eventually figure everything out. His performance is being judged every single day, sometimes every single throw. That means drops hurt him differently. One dropped touchdown can turn a strong red zone period into something that looks ordinary. One missed catch can make a drive look less impressive. One failed connection can become another excuse for somebody to say the offense did not finish. That is why these moments keep standing out. But the encouraging part for Shedeur is how he responds after them. He does not appear to lose trust in the offense. He does not start forcing the football trying to immediately get the play back. He keeps going through the structure of the offense and keeps looking for the next opportunity. And later, Jeudy did make a play for him. That matters too. You cannot crush Jeudy for the bad rep and then ignore the good one. Later in practice, Shedeur found him over the middle on another important completion. That shows Shedeur did not shut him out after the earlier mistake. He went right back to his receiver when the coverage gave him the look he wanted. That is quarterback maturity. A lot of young quarterbacks can get frustrated when a receiver costs them a big play. Then you start seeing them hesitate. Maybe they stop looking that direction. Maybe they try to force something somewhere else because they want to control the outcome. Shedeur did not appear to do that. He kept playing the offense, and that is the bigger point. The story is not that Jerry Jeudy is ruining Shedeur Sanders.
Practice, because if you listen to, there was like a Todd Monken interview they do every night. I think you're not going to hear again from Todd Monken until after tomorrow's joint practice. But the joint practice is going to go a set of 10 for the ones, a set of 7 for the twos, and I think there's going to be like a little small set there for Dylan Gabriel to run with the threes. Both the quarterback Shedeur and what's his name, Deshaun, they're both going to get a set of 5 plays. So it's going to go 5, 5, 5. And then I believe Dylan Sampson's going to rotate in and kind of get in where he fits in with some of those second teams and the third team, stuff like that. So that's what tomorrow is going to look like. And I also have to say I'm done because
The story is that Shedeur keeps producing quality opportunities even when every one of them is not being finished. That difference matters. Because when coaches review this practice, they are not only going to see a completion percentage, they are going to see where the football was thrown. They are going to see whether Shedeur made the right decision. They are going to see whether the timing was there. And they are going to see which incompletions actually belong on the quarterback. That is where Shedeur can still win the rep even without winning the stat. And if these drops continue happening on important throws, the outside conversation is going to get louder. People are already looking closely at every Shedeur drive. Every time a catchable touchdown hits the ground, more fans are going to ask the same question. How much better would his camp look if every good throw actually ended with the result it deserved? And this is where the pressure starts shifting away from Shedeur Sanders and directly onto Deshaun Watson. Because if Watson is supposed to be the experienced quarterback with the inside track, then a day like this is exactly the kind of practice he cannot afford to waste. He had another chance to create real separation, another chance to make this competition feel finished, and instead, he gave Cleveland more reasons to keep looking over at Shedeur. That is the part people cannot ignore. Deshaun Watson did not have a completely terrible practice. That would be an exaggeration. He made throws, he moved the offense at times, and there were moments where things worked. But quarterback competitions are not judged only by your good snaps. They are also judged by the mistakes that can completely flip a game, and Watson put 2 interceptions on the board during this session. That changes the conversation immediately. One of those interceptions came when Watson moved outside the pocket and tried to make something happen on the move. Michael Coates Jr. was there to take advantage, and suddenly another possession was going the other direction. Later, Watson tried pushing the football deeper downfield and the defense came away with another one. 2 turnovers in one practice. That is exactly the type of thing the Browns should be watching closely, especially when the other quarterback is having a cleaner day. This is what makes the comparison uncomfortable for Cleveland. Shedeur Sanders was not perfect. He missed some deeper opportunities. There were throws he would probably want another shot at. But there is a major difference between missing a receiver downfield and putting the football into the hands of the defense. One mistake ends a play, the other can end a drive. And that is why protecting the football becomes such a massive part of this battle. If Deshaun Watson had come out today, controlled the offense, protected the ball, scored efficiently, and looked clearly sharper than Shedeur, then Browns fans would have had to admit that he was starting to create some distance. That would have been a strong veteran response. But that did not happen. Instead, Shedeur kept his day under control while Watson produced the more damaging mistakes. So rather than making the competition quieter, Watson gave everybody another reason to talk about it. That has happened too many times during this camp for people to simply wave it away. Every time there seems to be a chance for Watson to grab this thing and make the decision obvious, something happens that brings the conversation right back. Maybe it is a turnover. Maybe it is an inconsistent stretch. Maybe Shedeur comes back with another efficient practice. Whatever the reason, the gap never seems to stay comfortable for long. And that matters because Watson is the veteran here. Nobody should be expecting the same learning curve from him that they expect from Shedeur Sanders. Watson has seen NFL defenses. He has played against pressure. He He has handled complex coverages. He understands how quickly one bad decision can turn into 6 points for the other team. That experience is supposed to be an advantage. So when Shedeur is the one having the cleaner day, people are naturally going to notice. And this is not about declaring Shedeur the starter because Watson threw 2 interceptions in August. That would be way too simple. The Browns are evaluating much more than one practice, and the coaches are seeing things that fans do not see from a few clips. But these reps still count. If you are Cleveland, you cannot say you want competition and then pretend one quarterback's mistakes do not matter because he has more experience. If Shedeur gets criticized when he misses a deep throw, then Watson has to be judged when he turns the football over. That is what a real competition is supposed to look like. Same standard, same accountability. Let the football decide. And today, the clean football favored Shedeur Sanders. That does not mean Shedeur dominated every category. It means he did one of the most important things a quarterback can do. He avoided giving the defense cheap possessions. He kept the offense alive and made Cleveland's defense earn its stops. Watson could not say the same thing after those interceptions. Now add the timing of all this. The Browns are heading toward work against Buffalo, where everything gets faster and less familiar. Different defensive looks, different personnel, different pressure. That is where a veteran quarterback should be able to show exactly why his experience gives him the edge. But Watson is entering that test after a practice that raised more questions instead of answering them. Meanwhile, Shedeur is walking into it after another day where the operation looks steady. The football generally came out clean, and the offense continued moving despite some missed opportunities around him. And now everything points toward Buffalo. Because after what happened in day 17, this joint practice is no longer just another summer session where Cleveland gets some work against a different defense. It has become the next real pressure point in this quarterback competition, and Shedeur Sanders is walking into it with momentum while Deshaun Watson is coming off a day that left more questions behind. That is what makes this so interesting. Shedeur did not need some perfect practice to stay alive in this race. He simply needed to keep showing that he can run the offense, protect the football, make enough big throws, and avoid the kind of mistakes that completely destroy drives. That is basically what he did today. Now he gets a different test. Buffalo is not Cleveland's defense. The looks will be different. The timing will feel different. The communication will be different. The windows can close faster because now you are going against defenders who have not spent all camp seeing the same concepts over and over again. That is where quarterbacks can really get exposed. You can look comfortable against your own defense because you know tendencies. You understand how certain players move. You have seen the same pressures and coverage structures throughout camp. But when another team lines up across from you, suddenly the quarterback has to process something fresh. That is exactly what makes this opportunity so valuable for Shedeur Sanders. Can he walk into that environment and still look calm? Can he identify pressure before the snap? Can he get the offense lined up correctly? Can he avoid forcing the football when the first read disappears? And most importantly, can he keep doing the one thing that separated him from Deshaun Watson today? Protect the football, because this is where the competition can shift fast. One clean series against Buffalo can get people talking. One big third down conversion can get people talking. One touchdown drive against a different defense can get people talking. And if Shedeur produces those moments while Watson continues giving defenses chances to take the football away, Cleveland is going to have a much harder time making this look like an easy decision. That is the danger for Watson right now. He has the experience advantage. He knows NFL football. He has been through real regular season games, real pressure situations, and real defensive game plans. So when the Browns put him against Buffalo, that experience is supposed to show. He should look more comfortable. He should process faster. He should protect the football better. That is the standard that comes with being the veteran. But if Shedeur walks into the same practice and looks just as composed, then suddenly experience alone does not end the argument. That is what Shedeur has been doing throughout this battle. He keeps making Cleveland answer one more question. Can he handle first-team speed? Then give him the reps. Can he operate and hurry up? He has shown stretches where he can. Can he respond after mistakes? He keeps coming back. Can he protect the football while still attacking? Today he did exactly that. And now the next question is Buffalo. The biggest thing Shedeur cannot do is start chasing the moment. He does not need to walk into joint practice trying to throw a 50-yard touchdown on every series. He does not need to turn every snap into an audition. That is usually when young quarterbacks get themselves into trouble. The smarter move is exactly what he has been talking about. Treat it like work. That sounds simple, but it could actually be his biggest advantage. Everybody else is going to make this practice feel massive. The media is going to watch every throw. Browns fans are going to compare every Watson rep with every Shedeur rep. One interception will become a headline. One touchdown will become a headline. One bad series will suddenly become proof that somebody lost the job. Shedeur cannot play like that. He has to play the defense in front of him, not the conversation around him. And that is why his calm attitude matters. If he really can go into Buffalo work without feeling like his entire future depends on one play, then he gives himself a much better chance of actually performing well. Quarterbacks usually get into trouble when they start pressing. They hold the ball trying to create something huge. They force throws into windows that are not there. They stop taking easy completions because they think they need highlights. Shedeur does not need highlights on every snap. He needs control. Take what Buffalo gives him. Move the chains. Stay ahead of the sticks. Protect the football. Then when the defense gives him a real shot downfield, take it. That is how this gets uncomfortable for Cleveland. Because if Watson looks solid against Buffalo, the Browns can live with that. That is what they expect from him. But if Shedeur looks solid too, now the conversation stays alive. And if Shedeur looks better, that is when things get really interesting. Especially after day 17, because now Cleveland has a fresh comparison sitting right in front of them. One quarterback had the cleaner afternoon. The other gave the defense multiple takeaways. One had a touchdown opportunity disappear because his receiver could not finish the play. The other created some of his own problems, so Buffalo is not coming at a neutral moment anymore. And that is where this whole quarterback battle stands right now. Shedeur Sanders did not need to walk into day 17 and put on some ridiculous highlight show. He needed to show Cleveland that he could stay steady, keep the offense moving, protect the football, and handle another day where every single rep seems to get judged under a microscope. That is exactly why this practice matters, because Shedeur gave the Browns another clean piece of evidence. He made plays. He converted important downs. He worked through the offense without giving the defense the football. He created touchdown opportunities, including one that should have ended with Jerry Jeudy celebrating in the end zone. And even when that catch was not finished, Shedeur did not let the frustration change the way he played. That is what you want to see. And on the other side, Deshaun Watson had a chance to make this conversation quieter. He had a chance to come out, play clean football, and remind everybody why the veterans should have the advantage. Instead, 2 interceptions gave Browns fans another reason to keep asking questions. Again, this does not mean Watson suddenly lost the job because of one practice, but it absolutely means the pressure did not disappear. That is the part of this situation Cleveland cannot control anymore. As long as Shedeur keeps putting together solid practices and Watson keeps leaving mistakes on the field, people are going to compare them. That is what happens when you call something a competition. And now Buffalo gets involved. This is where I really want to see what Shedeur does next, because this challenge is different. Different defenders, different looks, different pressure. He will not have weeks of familiarity with the guys lined up across from him. That is where the mental side starts showing up. Can Shedeur recognize what Buffalo is giving him before the snap? Can he stay patient when the first option is taken away? Can he climb the pocket instead of drifting into trouble? Can he take the easy completion instead of chasing a giant play? And when Buffalo finally gives him that opportunity downfield, can he make them pay? Those are the things that matter now. Because if Shedeur goes into this next challenge and continues playing controlled football, the Browns are going to have a very interesting problem. They can have whatever plan they want going into the practice, but eventually the tape has to matter. And that is what makes Shedeur's attitude so important. Everybody else can call it a massive day. Everybody else can treat every snap like his career is hanging on it. Shedeur does not have to. His job is much simpler. See the defense, make the read, deliver the football, move on to the next snap. That calm approach might actually be exactly what helps him most right now. So now I want to hear from you. After another solid Shedeur Sanders practice, another costly Jerry Jeudy drop on a big opportunity, and 2 interceptions from Deshaun Watson, asterisk. Did day 17 make this quarterback competition closer in your eyes? And more importantly, what would Shedeur have to do against Buffalo for you to say Cleveland can no longer ignore what he is showing? Drop your answer in the comments, because I want to know exactly where Browns fans stand heading into this next test. If you believe Shedeur is doing enough to keep this battle alive, hit the like button. Subscribe if you want every major update from this Browns quarterback competition, because Buffalo could give us the clearest look yet at whether Shedeur Sanders is simply competing for reps or actually forcing Cleveland to reconsider the entire plan.